Good morning, students. In the last class, we studied about the problem of integrating Hyderabad, Manipur to the Union of India, right? Now, the next problem in integrating the states was reorganizing the states. Okay? India faced a problem of reorganizing the states on the basis of language. Okay, linguistic problem arose. People started knowing themselves with the same language. Okay, and the need for reorganization was felt because India wanted to fulfill the equal territorial task, to have an efficient administration, and it was very important for India to accommodate the cultural diversity. Okay, so the process of nation building did not come to an end with partition and integration of the princely states. The challenge was to draw the internal boundaries of the Indian states. Okay, now the problem here was linguistic and cultural plurality of the country. This worked as the major, say, force also. But the problem was also this, and the solution was also this. And you'll come to know why and how. Right. So during the colonial rule, the boundaries of the states were drawn on administrative convenience, or they simply coincided. There were no marked boundaries, right? Now, our national movement rejected these divisions as artificial because we did not do that, right? It was done totally by the British government. So, our national movement rejected these divisions, and it promised that linguistic principles should be the basis of formation of the states. Okay, now this promise became a problem. In the Nagpur session of Congress in 1920, this principle was recognized as the basis of the reorganization of the Indian National Congress Party itself. And Nagpur session of Congress in 1920 is your non-cooperation movement. Okay, 1920. So at that time, things changed. When did things change, students? Things changed after independence. After independence, our leaders felt that carving out of the states on the basis of language will lead to further disintegration within the Union of India. Because we were already fighting with one basic problem, and that was religious diversity. We went to make another state out of India because of the religion problem. So leaders thought that somehow if they start creating the states on the basis of language, then that will again create a major problem. People will start associating themselves with language than with the unity of the country. Than they would rather start calling themselves as, Tamilians because they spoke Tamil, right? They will not recognize themselves as Indians, but rather they will start associating themselves on the basis of language of a particular region. Okay? So the leadership at that point of time, they decided to postpone the matter. The need for postponement was also felt because of the fate of the princely states was not decided, and the memory of partition was still afresh. So the decision of the national leadership changed. Now, since the leadership changed their decisions, the people also waged a protest. People responded with the protest. The protest began in the Telugu speaking areas of the old Madras province. I'm talking about the south side, which includes the present day Tamil Nadu, parts of Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Karnataka. Now, there, Vishal Andhra movement was carried out. This movement was for having a separate Andhra Pradesh. that demanded that Telugu speaking areas should be separated from Madras province, and that should be made as Andhra Pradesh. All political forces in Andhra region were in the favor of linguistic reorganization of Madras province. The movement gathered momentum, and there emerged a leader, Poti Sriramalu, a Congress leader who went on an indefinite fast, and that led to his death. Now, when a leader dies, when your representative who's fighting for you dies, another kind of unrest goes in the minds of the people. Okay? And history has always proven that. So that leader, the death of Poti Sriramalu, invited great unrest, led to violent outbursts in the Andhra region. People in large numbers took to streets. Many were injured also. They lost their lives. Several legislators, they resigned the post in the protest. And finally, all these repercussions, all these reactions of the people forced the Prime Minister to announce a separate Andhra state in December 1952. And that is how Andhra Pradesh was formed. Okay, now, since Andhra Pradesh was formed, the formation of Andhra Pradesh, do you think will give a rest to other states? Obviously, it won't. It invited the struggle for making of other states also on the basis of linguistic lines. And that led to the establishment of States Reorganization Commission in 1953, just a year later. Now, States Reorganization Commission, it was brought to look into the question of redrawing of the boundaries of the states. The commission gave its report, and it accepted that the boundaries of the states should reflect the boundaries of different languages. On the basis of the report, the States Reorganization Act was passed in 1956, which led to the creation of 14 states and 6 union territories. Okay? Now, this brings me to another fact. At present, how many states and union territories exist in India? Today we have 29 states and 7 union territories in the country. Right? Now, after this, what happened? This was the creation of States Reorganization Act. Next, what was the result of creating these linguistic states? Because I've told you that leaders thought that this would separate the states. This would create further divisions within the country. So one of the most important concerns in early years was that the demand for separate states would endanger the unity of the country. Demand of separate states started on the basis of language because Andhra Pradesh was created, right? And leaders thought that this would prove harmful for the unity of the nation. This would foster separatism. States would separate. Each and every region of the country would demand separate status. Right? It was hoped that if we accept this, then there would be a difficult situation in uniting the people of India. But things did not happen in that favor, students. Decision was finally the government took the decision that let's just take a decision in favor of linguistic states because of the popular pressure. The people's pressure forced the government to take the decision in favor of linguistic states. Now, it was hoped that if we just let's assume, let's accept that the regional and linguistic claims of all the religions, of all the regions will be accepted, then the threat of division and separatism may be reduced also. Every coin has two sides, right? If we think that it can be harmful, but if you think from the other way, it can unify the country as well. India will forever be remembered as a nation that has given space to all the languages, that has given a different region to all the languages, and probably that is what is keeping India united, right? So that was a decision that was taken, though under popular pressure, but it was taken. The accommodation of regional demands, the formation of linguistic states was understood to be more democratic. Right. Now, what was the result of this decision? Students, it has changed the nature of democratic politics and leadership even today, till today. What you see as a united India is because of that decision that was taken long time back in 1950s. It is not just the present situation of the country which is fighting with the disease getting united that matters. It also matters how long has India been united. Every state, every country has problems. But still we are under one roof, under one identity, and that is Indians. Therefore, it has changed the nature of democratic politics and leadership. The path to politics and power was open to people other than the small English speaking elites of that time. Linguistic reorganization gave a uniform basis to drawing of the state boundaries. It did not lead to disintegration of the country. What was a fear in the minds of the leaders? On the contrary, it has strengthened, stretched, made the national unity even emerge stronger. And most importantly, the linguistic states has brought the acceptance in the minds of the people for the principle of diversity. Now, when we say that India adopted democracy, we do not simply want to say that India is talking about a democratic constitution that was created under a constituent assembly. No. What we actually want to say that India adopted things in the favor of the people. We do not want to say that India adopted the format of elections. It was broader than this. It was a choice in favor of recognizing, in favor of accepting the existence of differences which exist in India, which could at times be oppositional also, that I have just discussed. It has problems, there are problems. But democracy, in other words, within India was associated with the plurality of ideas and ways of life. Okay, so things have changed, things have improved, and democracy was associated with the plurality of those ideas. And as I have told you just right now, that still, despite of several problems, multiple languages, multiple religions, multiple cultures, we are under one roof, under one administration, under one government, and that is your Indian government. We are all an Indians, right? That is the beauty that you have. Okay. Now this brings me to the end of chapter number 1 of book 2, that is Indian politics. Okay. Now let's come to the cartoons over here. Now in cartoon number 1, this picture. Now this picture, the leader on the right side of the cartoon is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and towards the left is one of the ruler of the princely states. He's sitting over people. You can see here, these are this man is shown as people, and that points to the fact that people were exploited. The cartoon shows that the princely rulers exploited and oppressed the people, and the efforts of the government to merge these states to the Union of India. Sardar Patel was extremely successful in solving the issue. Now, this is totally discussed earlier also. Now, this second picture here, this is basically pointing to the fact of the creation of the linguistic states, where this man is basically Pandit shown as your first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who faced the foremost challenge of integrating the princely states. Here you can see Naya Gujarat, all the states are demanding their different identity, different status, and that is because of the language. So this picture reflects the problem of reorganization of the linguistic states, and what was your leader fearful about was the harming of the unity of the country. Okay, though I have just explained, India solved the problem by recognizing the regional demands of the people and gave them some autonomy as well. Okay, now coming to this picture, it's very important. It's very important and it's very different also. Now this picture it basically shows this particular small man as States Reorganization Commission. Now States Reorganization Commission was formed in 1953, and it was expected to solve the problems of the drawing of the boundaries of the states, right, which was a difficult task, and you all by far know why, right? So this genie, this is a big, giant kind of a person. So this genie represents the problem of language, which was as big as the size of this genie, right? So, and the small man is your States Reorganization Commission. So this shows that this small man is States Reorganization Commission. This small man is States Reorganization Commission, sorry. And here, this particular man is trying to contain the genie of linguism in this box, in this vase, sorry. Okay. So basically, because it has come into formation for solving the problems of the drawing of the boundaries. So it is trying to contain all the problems of linguism, which is as big as this genie in its own vase, right? And somehow it solved the problem as well, right? You know that we have solved the problems of drawing of the boundaries well enough, to which India stands strong till today, right? So these are the pictures these are the cartoons. Now, if there are other pictures which you have a problem in the chapter, please let me know, because other pictures are crystal clear with the details there, right? Now let's move to the maps. How can map be important for you? Now these maps, this is India before and after partition. You have various states marked over here. This is India after reorganization, administrative map 1961. After your boundaries were redrawn, we have our defined states. Okay, we marked our boundaries and we created this India, that is your final India. Now there has been further divisions as well, but for the examination point of view, you need to remember these two maps. Now your questions can be like this. A map can be given to you, okay? From examination point of view, I'm telling you students, a map can be given to you, and like this the areas will be marked. You need to write which areas are they. It may be given that write an area that was divided during partition. So you have to mention it is Punjab, it is Bengal. Okay, it will be marked here and it will be asked for you in the question. Okay, so from these point of view, such maps become important. All right. Now, this brings me to the end of the chapter number 1. If you have any problem, any doubts in the questions or the answers or in the chapter, please let me know. Okay. Thank you, students.